Hi, my name is Kris McInnes and I'm a psychic medium from Brisbane, Australia. And tonight I'd like to share another true story about a case that I worked on where a young family were being haunted in their own home. Now, when this lady contacted me, she was telling me that she was a single mum with 3 kids and she was just so stressed out, she just didn't know what to do anymore. So apparently this house was actually her childhood house because it was her parents, and when they passed on, they passed it on to her. And this lady actually never left this house. She never moved out. She grew up and had her own kids in this house, and now they were being brought up in the same house. So this poor lady and poor family were being hassled by this nasty spirit their whole entire lives in this house, which is just horrible. So I said, yes, that's fine. I can have a look for you. I can't promise anything though, because something may not listen to me, but I'm definitely willing to have a look for you. So she was happy with that, and so it all started the same way as it always does, where a day or two beforehand, Spirit will contact me through messages or dreams and things like that, and kind of tell me how to arm myself, what I should use and what techniques and things like that. Also with this house, she did actually tell me that through the past 20 years, she had tried to get several different people to come through to hoping to move on this negative spirit, and it just hasn't worked, unfortunately. And definitely no disrespect to them, because I know for a fact these days spirit sometimes only listens to, say, a male or a female or certain religions and things like that. So it doesn't matter how experienced you are, that sometimes doesn't quite come into it, that I've found personally. But when I got to this house anyway, I knocked at the door, the lady opened it up and invited me in. And straight away, when I got in there, it was unbelievable. Like, it felt like I just stepped into a different world. Like, it just felt so different. Like, it was like I stepped within the veil. There was just something going on in there, and there was just a blanket of darkness and negativity, and I felt depression in the place and things like that. So, and straight away I knew what room I had to go to move or communicate with this spirit that was in there. But I did the walk around anyway, around the whole entire house. I even went outside to see what I could pick up and things like that. And what I was picking up was, like, this house was in a suburbia. But originally, this house didn't exist, and it was this massive farming area. And something happened from, like, I believe this lady's house was almost in the exact same spot the original farmhouse was. And something happened on the property where the guy that was haunting this place was the person that was in the wrong. They were doing something wrong, and they came onto this farmer's land, and anyway, there was a fight broke out, and the guy actually ended up being killed. And so the farmer decided to get rid of his body, so he like obviously dug a hole there on the property somewhere and buried him. And the thing is, this guy, where he is buried, I believe was within fence lines. So, like, the lady found it really strange that, like, in the way that's, like, all this horrible negativity stuff and things will be, what they're experiencing will be happening, right? But, and then it'll just be gone. And that's it. And then suddenly it'll come back and things like that. And she couldn't get her head around that. But from my experiences, I have seen and noticed that sometimes spirit kind of, I don't know, you'll be hammered by things happening around your house sometimes, and then suddenly it'll just kind of fade off and go away, and you're like, oh wow, maybe it's gone, and give you this like false sense of security, and then as soon as you feel that, it's like boom, back again. That's how I have felt it. experienced it. So I thought, it's probably just that. But I think it was more involved than just that with this guy. Because this guy was killed on a farm, big open area, I don't believe he was bounded by just that little suburban block where the house is. My feelings, or what I was told spiritually, is this guy had been actually doing the rounds on other people's homes. And so this freaking guy is probably haunting not only this poor family, but other families all in the same area. Like, so without going door knocking and going, hi, are you being haunted by a ghost? There's not much I could really do about it. So, and obviously the lady wasn't willing to go around and do that either. But within the house, I went back in and spoke to the lady again and found out more about what's been happening around the place and things like that. And she told me that just this blanket of like tension and negativity and darkness just has surrounded her house as long as she can remember it. And it's like I said, thick in the air. And there's times apparently where she'd be laying in bed sleeping and then she'd have these attacks, like she feels someone holding her down and maybe covering her throat or something. I'm not sure, but she said she had a lot of major breathing difficulties, and she believed it wasn't a medical thing, but it was a spiritual thing that was happening within the home. And the poor kids were experiencing this, they said, this skeleton man that would appear at the end of the bed or beside their bed near their faces and that. And so I don't know if it was a real skeleton that he was kind of showing the kids to scare them more, which is nasty. Freaking can't get much nastier than that, really. Or it was just the way he looked, because when I saw this guy, he was a real tall, skinny, lanky, kind of really bony, almost kind of anorexic looking guy, and you could really see his skeleton, you know. So I don't know if they were seeing him like I saw him or a proper skeleton, but either way I wasn't going to prod that too much. This is all coming from the mother anyway, but I didn't want to ask the kids this, because then put more images in their heads and things like that. But anyway, so that's apparently what was happening in there. And also she would hear bangs and voices within the home and things like that. So it's a real nasty environment to be in for anyone, really. So I said yes. I'm like, once I was ready, I said, if it's okay, I'll leave you and I'll go into the back room and I'll see what I can do. And this guy wasn't wanting to play the game. He didn't want to move on. He was happy enough just staying there and terrorizing everybody, obviously. So it took a bit to do. It took a lot of energy out of me. And in the room that I was in, it was weird. It was like, I didn't see it, but it felt like I was in like a whirlwind or something, like tornado thing within this room. And it just felt really exhausting and strange and all of that. But I was, doing my thing, basically. But in the end, once I had done that, I honestly felt he had gone. Like, I felt like the heaviness and everything lifted off this house, you know. So once I had moved him on, I tried to bring in the warm, loving type of energies and fill those empty voids, because where the dark used to be, because from experiences and things I've heard as well in the past, and that if you don't fill those voids with the warm energy and things like that, it kind of leaves them open for more negative things to come into the place and that. So I went back to the lady and I kind of explained to a point what I seen and everything like that, what I experienced and all. And she seemed to be buzzing too, like she just felt amazing in the place. She said, I just feel so much better, and I don't feel so, like, the darkness doesn't feel around me anymore and things like that. So I just said to her, so just please keep in touch, let me know how everything goes and things like that. So within like 2 or 3 weeks, I actually gave her a phone call anyway, just to say, hey, just wondering how everything is. Everything, you haven't seen him around. Everything's good and all that. And she is like, oh yeah, this place feels incredible now. Thank you so much for everything you've done for me and my family. Because I said, she told me she finally was apparently over it all, and she's like, no, I think I might just have to move and start fresh somewhere else. But she didn't really want to because it was a family home. But she said because the place feels so good now, she didn't want to move. So she said, I just feel like I want to fix the place up, fix the holes over here, paint this, paint that, get all the place cleaned up for her and the family again. Even the kids were wanting to sleep in their own bedrooms. There was no more screaming through the middle of the night and all of that because of the skeleton man and everything. So as soon as she told me that, I just had goosebumps all over my body. I was just so happy that I was able to help another family, especially a young family, because that is just freaking horrible. I know what it's like to be brought up in homes like that, and that's basically as well another reason I've got into what I do now, is because I just hate the feeling of other families going through what kind of I experienced, my family experience, you know. So yeah, so I was just so happy that I could help them. But anyway, that's just another story to add to my list. So if you did like my story, please don't forget to like my video and subscribe if you'd like to see more like this, as every subscriber really means a lot to me. Well, thank you very much again, last, and have a great night. See you next time. Bye.